start off with disclaimer. Yes, I do involve in this clinical trial. Okay, therefore I'm not eligible to receive this vaccine. So don't ask me further if I receive this vaccine because I'm not allowed to. Otherwise, I do not have any share in Pfizer or any of the AstraZeneca, any of the companies. Okay, so I will be very impartial in this sense. Now, what we see now, today is 21st January. So in 7 days' time, we're going to celebrate anniversary of COVID-19. Our first patient was on 28th January 2020. Now we are already a year, okay, in advance, but still we are still talking about this boring topic of COVID-19, right? It's boring to me because we're dealing with it every day, okay? I'm pretty sure that inside yourself, you'll be cursing this COVID-19 because it caused so much of trouble that you have to cancel your OT, you have to cancel your patient's appointment, and etc. Worse still, whenever your people that surrounding you, your own colleague, your family member become positive, you'll be worried out that whether you are one or the close contact, right? These are the things that occur to all of us. So meaning that we need a solution to this. We already 1 year in the fight to COVID-19, we need a solution. Perhaps vaccine, with the introductions of vaccine, that will be a solution. Now, comparing with the early phase, the phase 1, phase 2 of COVID-19, in this phase 3 is a lot of difference in terms of clinical presentations and the management. Whereby in phase 1, we only see mostly of the patients are Cat 1, Cat 2, meaning they have no symptom or very mild symptoms. In second wave, somewhere during Siwa Gangga's time, March, 8, May, okay, we did notice some a bit changes whereby more patients have presented with pneumonia. Okay, during that situation, we start to learn about the presentations of COVID-19, X-ray changes, and etc. But we never predicted that till now, the severity of the disease has worsened. Yes, not getting better, but the other way around, worsened. Okay? Do you want to guess how many patients in my ward that is on oxygen? It's not 10, it's not 20, it's close to 60 of them that in the ward that is on oxygen right now. Okay, we have in a ward, we created a waiting list, okay, who are on the top list that's going to ICU because we have limited ICU beds. So this is the situation that we are facing right now. In fact, I have to call my matrons, go to every ward, look for your oxygen regulator, don't tell your colleagues, quietly take it away and put in my ward because I need the oxygen regulator. Okay, we do not have enough. We have to stand by for more patients that probably will coming in with severe pneumonia. And this is true, announced by DG not long ago on the 19th January, severe COVID-19 cases 5 times higher in third wave. Okay, this is a situation not only in Kedah, it's involving the whole Malaysia.
Dia nak belajar kat rumah. Jadi dia rasa. Baik, tak dengar.
Okay, now, as you could understand, when the disease severity is become worse, there will be automatically increase in mortality. So every day, we have patients that die because of COVID in the whole entire Malaysia. And you can see the graph here, the graph are increasing from December till January. Okay, if you remember those days, maybe 6 months back, okay, so we only report mortality once in every few weeks or once every few days. Now, every day we have mortality. Okay, so this is a different patterns of presentations as compared to 2020. Year 2021 is more challenging, I believe. Now, we also see reinfections. So if you think that you've been affected or infected by COVID-19, therefore you're immune to it forever, you are wrong, right? That does not happen, okay? Meaning that COVID-19 will probably continue to haunt you because we have seen many case report about reinfections, meaning that a person that already recovered from COVID-19 somewhere down the line been exposed to another person that carry the same virus and infected again. this is proven by genomic study, whereby when they keep the virus culture, the previous infection, the current infection, they found that actually it's from the different genomic virus. Therefore, it's considered as reinfections. Okay, there are many case reports that actually shows that reinfections is possible, and it can happen as early as 2 months after the first infections. Over here, I do have one patient that we think is reinfections. He was a HIV patient, whereby he was with a very poor immune system. Okay, so we have a record of his first presentation of the X-ray and the X-ray on the second admission. Clearly different presentation, whereby during the first admission the X-ray was clear, the second admission there was robust X-ray changes, and he succumbed to COVID-19. Okay, so when we tested the IgG, the serology was negative, meaning that probably because that of his HIV status, that he couldn't mount adequate response, therefore make him more susceptible to infection second time. So this is real. Okay, so you don't think that you're infected with COVID-19, please tell a family or friends that will be affected by COVID-19. Okay, just because that you had an opportunity to meet or make friends with the COVID-19 doesn't mean that you are immune to it. So you still have to take all the precautions, wear the mask, social distancing, and etc. Okay, so as I said, this COVID-19 is really a nuisance. Okay, now, yes, you can have it twice or maybe 3 times, 4 times if we don't take actions right now or we can't find a solution to it. Okay, now immunity towards SARS-CoV-2 might be short-lived and perhaps also in short durations. Okay, so neutralizing antibody present for 5 to 6 months post-infections. 5 to 6 months. Okay, I will talk about neutralizing antibody. Okay, so and COVID-19 reinfections may happen with the presence of neutralizing antibody. Okay, so it means that first few months after infections by COVID-19, you probably will be immune protected from getting the second time of COVID-19. But this is not long-lasting because the neutralizing antibody will wane. It peak and it wane pretty fast, less than a year. Okay, this is consistent with our case report, whereby there are many reinfections that occur within months from the first episode of infections. Okay, so there's another study. This is done by the China group. Out of 273 COVID patients, 6 reinfections identified. Okay, they have done a very detailed study based on biological, serological, and epidemiological study, and they confirmed that this is true reinfections. Okay, meaning that, okay, so we have to do something. Okay, so perhaps vaccine is the answer, since vaccine is going to be made available very soon. Okay, this slide is just mentioned slightly, a little bit mentions on the neutralizing antibody. Is one of the IgG that has the efficacy or activity that able to prevent the replications of the virus. So if you have a high neutralizing antibody, maybe you can help you to overcome the infection or protecting you from getting COVID-19 infections. But let me remind you, I mentioned earlier, okay, neutralizing antibody is not long-lasting after infections. It may protect you for a while, but certainly not lifelong. Okay, and the concept of vaccine, okay, the majority of vaccine are believed to provide protections by inducing productions of neutralizing antibody by our own cell body, or inducing antigenic specific memory T cell to make sure that the protections that confer is long lasting. Okay, but not all vaccine able to induce the memory T cell. Therefore, like our flu vaccine, we have to take the jab every year because there's not enough memory T cell, and also because of the different strains that are circulating around every year. Okay, so this is a basic about all this vaccine. When we talk about vaccine for virus. So now, when you're talking about treatment for pneumonia, after 1 year treating COVID-19, I can still tell you that I do not know much or know nothing about COVID-19 pneumonia. Okay, because unlike bacterial infections, you can find very effective antibiotics, okay, to target or to treat the bacteria. Virus is different. Okay, virus is very stubborn as well as a very clever creatures. Okay, we can't yet to find a highly effective antiviral agents that works very well to get rid of clear viral infections. Okay, the optimal therapy of severe pneumonia is not well defined. Of course, we have file of antivirals that we are using. Okay, of course, I can't say that efficacy 100%, but it's better than none. I would put it this way. We have covalescent plasma, hoping that the donors of the covalescent plasma they has got a high level of this neutralizing antibody, therefore able to help our patient to overcome the infections better. We use some steroids and early phase IL-6 inhibitor. We hardly use it right now because we believe that COVID-19 or SARS-CoV-2 virus also induce hyperinflammatory process in the persons that be infected with COVID. Therefore, we use a fair bit of steroids. Okay, therefore it's very it's very unusual that ID physician now has to use steroids. Okay, it's very different from those days. And I was telling my mentor, you never taught me how to use steroids. Now I have to use steroids. Okay. Apart from that, mostly the treatment is supportive, meaning oxygen supply, ventilator supports. Therefore, when we have more ill patients, we need to get ready of our intensive care. So we can't build ICU over the night. All right. So this is a very difficult situation they are facing right now. Now, we're talking about herd immunity. I'm pretty sure everyone heard about this term. So we are hoping, earlier on, some countries were hoping that, when more people affected or infected by COVID-19, eventually our community will develop immunity against it. Therefore, you don't have to invest on any antivirals. You don't have to invest on any treatment, nor you have to invest on vaccine, because let the nature take the cost. But you see, if we let the nature take the cost, the mortality rates, how many patients, how many people have succumbed because of COVID-19? Okay? Yes, we need to achieve herd immunity, but the way is not to letting more people to contract or affected by the virus, but it's by vaccination. So we need good, effective vaccine in order to achieve herd immunity. Okay? Of course, the proportion of the population that must be vaccinated against COVID-19 to begin to induce herd immunity is not known yet, because the scientists has not done the mathematics. But as a general understanding, it should be more than 70%. Okay? If let's say only small proportion of our populations only receive the vaccine, we will never achieve herd immunity. So that will waste, our effort will be wasted as well. Okay? Now, the risk of severe illness and death from COVID-19 is far more severe as compared to the benefit of natural immunity. So we know that the disease is getting more severe. Therefore, we have to take action. We have to do something to change the scenario right now. Comparatively, if we were to be, let's say we go back to 2020 at the beginning, the disease so mild. Probably during that situation, you think that vaccine is not beneficial, because after all, the disease is so mild, everyone can get over it. It's just a common flu, all right? But today, now at this moment in time, it's totally different scenario. Okay, COVID-19 can cause severe pneumonia. There are more and more people that succumb to COVID-19. Okay, so therefore we need the vaccine. Now, this is a false promise of herd immunity. We have a very iconic president or ex-president, okay, the Blondie, all right? He is the one that proposed to largely let the virus run its course, let his people to be infected with COVID. Therefore, you can achieve herd immunity. You know that this is false. You can see many examples. For example, I show you. Okay, so this is about herd immunity. It's okay. You can skip that. Now, immunity threshold in New York, London, even in Switzerland, those countries that have had a heavy outbreak of COVID-19, the immunity threshold is only about 20%. You can't achieve the high, even more than 50%. Remember, I mentioned to you, we need the immunity threshold about 70% or above in order to achieve herd immunity. So after letting the community or the people to be affected by COVID the best we can achieve is 20% only, meaning that natural herd immunity, it doesn't work. Okay, likewise in India and Brazil. In India, almost the whole country was swept by COVID-19, yet they couldn't achieve herd immunity. The mortality rate in India is equally high. So we do hope that this scenario will not happen in Malaysia. Otherwise, no matter how many low-risk centers were built, we don't think we're able to cater for that. Okay, soon we're going to run out of resources. We don't have enough N95, we won't have enough gowns, we do not have enough everything, manpower, right? Everyone is tired right now because already 1 year we're still talking about COVID-19. I do hope that in the next 6 months, I do not talk about COVID-19 anymore. All right, it will be a new topic. All right. So the reason behind is we don't know how long immunity lasts. Okay, so therefore we cannot depend on the natural herd immunity as the solutions. Okay, we need to think out the box to find the other solutions of it. So we need a strong and effective vaccine. Okay, but at this juncture, we can't be choosy. You know that the vaccine is just made available. That is a limited vaccines that we have. It's just that we need to understand a little bit about the vaccine. So when we're talking about an efficacious vaccine, we hope that the vaccine may prevent one person from getting the infections. Okay, even if let's say the person been injected or vaccinated, if he got the infections, we're hoping that the disease will be very mild or asymptomatic. Therefore, the risk of him transmitting the disease to or the virus to the people surrounding him will be less. Less severe disease, less chances of him spreading the virus to other people. This is the aim of COVID-19 vaccine. Okay, an efficacious COVID-19 vaccine. Now, there are a lot of vaccines listed by WHO. Some, only 2 that given approval, emergency authorizations. The other are mainly in phase 3, some in phase 2, and some in phase 1. Okay? So now, when you talk about vaccine, okay, a few basic information that we need to know. Number 1, we need to know whether this is polyvalent or monovalent. Of course, for COVID-19, okay, it's monovalent. We only know one strain. Unlike others, vaccine, for example, pneumococcal is polyvalent. Okay? So other than that, we need to know how this vaccine works, whether it's live attenuated, inactivated vaccine, which is like the trial that our CRC engaging, viral vector, and the mRNA, which is the cutting edge vaccine. This is a new technology and first time ever using this technology to develop the vaccine. Okay? And the third one is the particles. Okay? Sorry, I go back. Now, live attenuated, this is out of favor. Okay, the method of producing a vaccine by live attenuated is outdated because the method itself derived from using the disease virus, meaning that if it's for COVID-19, they're using the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Okay, make the virus weaken, then inject the virus into the human body. Okay, therefore there is a concern that it may induce mild disease in the recipient of the vaccinated person. Okay, therefore, usually in this type of vaccine, it's not advisable for those people that are immunocompromised. But however, because we are inducing the big virus into the body, usually the immune response towards this type of vaccine is excellent. Okay, you probably don't need so high dose of vaccine, but yet you can induce a very good, excellent immune response. And the duration of the response is long life, meaning it can last for many, many years. Okay, but the set down of it is like we have to introduce live virus. So many people may not welcome this idea because I do not want the virus in my body. Okay, now the second group is inactivated. Okay, I think the China group is using this type of virus. The virus is a real virus but being killed or inactivated. They are killed. It's a true virus but they are killed or inactivated. So therefore, because they're already inactivated, the immune response that mounts will be less strong. Okay, not as strong as when you compare to live attenuated. And because it may not be able to induce the memory cell, therefore the immune response may be not long lasting. So in other words, you may need a booster dose or you repeat the dose in few years' time. But at the moment, we do not have data. We do not know. Okay? Now, viral vectors, for example, AstraZeneca, strong immune response, long period of response. And mRNA is a new technique. We do not have much information. What we know here is relatively safe and the low production cost. Therefore, in this situation where you're facing pandemic, you want a vaccine that you can produce fast in big quantity, yet with a very low cost. So this is a vaccine that will meet our needs at this moment in time, and it was relatively safe. Okay? And the last is the protein subunit is also relatively good, but it's not the favorite vaccine, the mode of production of vaccine at this current time. Now, just comparing the vaccine that available. Only vaccine by Pfizer and Moderna has achieved or given the emergency authorizations that is available in the market, right? First approved of Pfizer, a week later, Moderna was approved as well. AstraZeneca is still at phase 3. Likewise, the China vaccine is still at phase 3. Therefore, we still do not have much information about it. As for Pfizer and Moderna, the coverage or the percentage of patients that receive protections after vaccination is more than 94-95%. It's rather good. And all these vaccines are same. We need 2 doses. Okay, first dose. Then the second dose, either 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month later. You have to follow the schedule of the vaccine according to the different type of vaccine and you have to read the product insert. Okay? So now the more important or interesting is the Pfizer vaccine, okay, which is very popular right now. Everyone be talking about it. The only issue is the storage. You need a cold chain storage. You need the fridge negative 70 degrees Celsius. Unlike the other vaccine whereby you can keep it just in a normal fridge, even the fridge in your kitchen, also you can use it to keep, right? And for Moderna, even you keep it in the room temperature, it can last for 12 months. So last for 1 month. So that's a problem with the Pfizer vaccine, whereby you have to get ready the fridge negative 70 degree and it's not cheap. Okay? The way of transporting the vaccine also will be an issue. This is a problem that we have to sort it out before we can roll out the mass vaccination to our community. Now, you have heard a lot of side effect or not so promising result of vaccine. Okay, because nowadays, the social media time, everyone has got Facebook. Maybe Dato' Razi doesn't have one. Okay, so everyone has got Twitters, and every day you have been receiving a lot of news from Twitters more than you read your up-to-date or any medical journals. I believe so, right? So when you heard about all these untoward effects about vaccine, you probably will be worried. But I would recommend that don't believe whatever you read from Facebook 100%. In fact, if you want to know more about vaccine, you should go back to the MMWR report or FDA report, a report that produced by the vaccine study, rather than listen to hearsay. Now, earlier on, it was mentioned that many people died because of anaphylactic shock after receiving vaccine, COVID vaccine in particular. So, how true is that? Yes, it's true that all vaccine may cause anaphylactic reaction, including COVID-19. So, but this is the MMWR report, okay, that was published on the 6th January. Okay, yes, it caused anaphylactic reactions, but from the 21 cases that with the anaphylactic reactions, 17 out of 21 has got history of allergy or allergic reactions. Okay, 7 with past history of anaphylaxis. Okay, so meaning that it's telling you that these people already are prone to develop anaphylaxis or allergic reactions. It may not be COVID vaccine. It can be other things. For example, food. They probably will be allergic to seafood or peanuts if let's say they are not careful. So don't just simply blame the vaccine. So probably in the inclusion criteria, you just have to be careful. Okay, there are people that have a history of allergy. You may have to warn them, or you have to stand by if they're willing to take the vaccine. You have to stand by the injections and etc. Okay, certainly anaphylactic reaction is real, but the incident is usually happen in those people that they have past history or background of allergic reactions. Okay? And the good thing here, the median intervals to develop the anaphylactic reaction, if it were to happen, is within 13 minutes. 13 minutes, 13 minutes after injections. Okay? The range from 2 minutes until 150. I think the 150 is very skewed. Okay? The median is 13 minutes. So I have friends and also my ID counterparts that working in Singapore, in neighborhood country or in other countries. After they receive the vaccine, okay, Malaysia is a bit slow. Other countries, they already received the vaccine. Okay, sorry to say that. So we receive messages from them, hey, I'm still standing here 15 minutes after I received the vaccine. I feel so good. So when is yours vaccine? So I can only answer very soon. Okay, this is my standard answer. So the anaphylactic reactions, okay, meaning it happens, but only a specific group of people, and you just have to monitor for the initial 15 minutes. Now, the hypothesis of the allergic reaction is because of the productions of the vaccine itself, because this is a mRNA, is a new vaccine, whereby it's a lipid-based nanoparticles carry system. Okay, so the allergic reactions likely is towards the lipid-based nanopeptides or the polyethylene glycol. So this is very, very specific towards this type of vaccine. We also hear report that many elderly people died after they received the vaccine. This is true in Norway. Okay, but when you look at the detail of the study, these are the elderly people that many of them living in old folks' home. They are frail, they are elderly, they are not healthy. So when you look at the Norway reports, every week they have about 400 elderly that died in the old folks' home. So it's probably one of the cause of death that made by nature, not really due to the vaccine, maybe one or two due to the vaccine, but the mortality rate among the elderly, with or without vaccine, there's no difference. Okay? So I come to the last slide. So this is a study about the China's vaccine. Okay, it's phase 1, phase 2. We are undergoing the phase 3 right now. I'm not going to talk about the study because that will be the second part by Dr. Radzi. So, my last slide. We hope that vaccine will make COVID-19 a highly preventable disease. Okay? So, because I do not want to deal with COVID-19 anymore. Okay? So, by next year or 6 months down the line, I do not want to sit here and talk about COVID-19. Of course, we do not want to see COVID-20 also. Okay? So, let's hope that vaccine will make COVID-19 a highly preventable disease. Okay? If everyone agree to take the vaccine, and if the vaccine is made available, so let us call it a day towards COVID-19, and our lives will go on. Okay, with that, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Loli Lee. You have done my job very, very much easier this time because you have excellent coverage on the COVID-19 just now within 20 or half an hour just now. So what I'll do is that, but I also would like to take off my hat for Dr. Lili and her team because they have done tremendous job. The sleepless night. They have been very, very busy for the past 1 year looking after the COVID patient at our hospital. Okay, my job is number one is to have a very brief introductions or probably briefing on the vaccine trial which will be conducted at Hospital Surabaya by next week. This is a randomized trial which been assigned to us to run at the multiple center in Malaysia. Well, the title of the study is a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled phase 3 clinical trial for the evaluations of efficacy and safety of SARS-CoV-2 vaccine inactivated in healthy population aged 18 years old and above in Malaysia, with the NMR number here written quite clearly. So it's a very long name, but in short, this is a study on the COVID vaccine for the Malaysians populations, and this is inactivated vaccine. I think you have heard from Dr. Lo Lili just now, various kind of vaccine. So for this particular trial, which we're going to kick off very soon, is an inactivated vaccine. Okay. The other reasons why I would like to highlight about the clinical trial in the context of the crisis at the moment is how important that we should believe, and then this is the way how to go in order to find the best solutions during this crisis. Because we all know that there are so many bad press or anti-vaccine movement at the moment. For some reasons, they are very much against the vaccine trial. So I'm going to show some data on how important that we believe the data that has been done from the clinical trial, rather than believing all the fake news or the hearsay or some claims from the very irresponsible party. Okay, so why clinical trial is very important? Because we all know in the era of the evidence-based medicine, we are guided by the clinical trial, by the data which is generated from the clinical trial. Because we all know, I think by now, taking for example, like other infectious diseases, like HIV per se, hepatitis C and hepatitis B, the treatment available is based on the clinical trial. Because we all know that the data generated from all this clinical trial will be the best evidence on how to manage the disease. Okay, the same goes with the COVID-19. What we have seen with the Pfizer, Moderna trial, they are all based on the clinical trial which they have done. They have completed the phase 3, and then they have come up with the data. So now they have rolled out the vaccine to the public. And we also know that the clinical trial being conducted in the best, what we call this, in the best way on how to generate the finding. I mean, there's no rooms to dispute the finding. I mean, it's done at the best interest in the safety as well as the efficacy of the vaccine. At the same time as well, my third point with regards to clinical trial, why we need a clinical trial. You must be wondering why we need another clinical trial. I mean, we already have the vaccine from Pfizer, we already have the vaccines from the Moderna or AstraZeneca for the time being. Well, the main reason is that, as mentioned by Dr. Lo Lili just now, we don't have what we call this the most ideal vaccine at the moment. There are vaccines now available. Yes, they are efficacious, perhaps with certain group of populations, but we need to know, or we need to have another vaccine which may cover another vulnerable populations, for example, the immunosuppressive agents, or maybe some of the subpopulation which is not covered by the current vaccine. So we need to explore as many as possible options or an alternative apart from the existing vaccine. So we need the clinical trial, we need the data to show that they are safe and efficacious to be used to the public. Okay. In order also to have some confidence on the clinical trial, I would just like to go through to you how this clinical trial being conducted, i.e. from the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. Okay. So in the phase 1 itself, what the current clinical trial which I'm going to discuss today is on the phase 3 already. But what about, it's actually started from the phase 1 itself, whereby at the phase 1, we are talking about the safety of the product in a small population and healthy populations after the drug has been approved to be safe in the animal study. So then they will go into the phase 1 clinical trial in the human. And then we move on to the phase 2. In the phase 2, again, we are looking at the safety of the product and also looking what would be the best dose for that particular product in that healthy population. Once they have ensured the safety and also the right dosing, then they will move on into the phase 3. At the phase 3, we are talking more on the safety as well of the efficacy of the product in the huge population. It can go up to about 3,000 participants. For our particular study that we're going to conduct in the moment, will involve 3,000 participants in Malaysia alone. So from our center, i.e. from the Hospital Surabaya, we need about 375 patients to be randomized into this clinical trial. Once they have gone or they have passed the phase 3, then they will move on to what we call the phase 4. Phase 4 is where what the Pfizer is in the stage right now, the Pfizer vaccine in the stage right now, whereby you will start seeing maybe some of the side effects, and there's been reported about the patients who, elderly patients who passed away in Norway. So these are the things. This is already in the phase 4. Okay. So if you look at all the phase, from the phase 1 until the phase 4, the most important thing, we have to make sure that all the clinical trial is safe enough to the public before it can be rolled out. Okay. And also they are looking by the time that it becomes a phase 3, another important element will be the efficacy of the product. Okay. So what I can say here is that we should be able to have trust and confidence in all the clinical trial data, the one that we have so far. So this is one of the justifications, or probably one of the point that you can counter all those anti-vaccines or all those people who are against the vaccines for the time being. Because we all know, for the time being, what we need to have will be the vaccine, because that's the best weapon in order to counter our COVID-19 for the time being. Okay. On the study, back to the study again, I'm sure most of you are aware of the clinical trial which is going to be conducted. It was even been announced by our Prime Minister, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, about the clinical trial which will be conducted at the 9th Clinical Research Center in Malaysia. And we are proud that Hospital Surabaya has been selected or been appointed to run this clinical trial. Okay, a bit about the study. This is a study of vaccine products from China, Institute of Medical Biology, Chinese Academy of Medical Sciences, which established 1958. I just need to give a bit of the track record of this particular company, so we have some faith in this company or sponsor. It is a very experienced in the sense that they are the largest producer of vaccines. They have been producing live attenuated oral polio vaccines and also hepatitis A vaccine. So they have done the phase 1 and also the phase 2, which is very safe and is efficacious for the time being. And the side effect so far that has been shown is just exactly like any other vaccine. Okay, so the vaccine again is an inactivated vaccine. It has to be given in 2 doses in the interval of 2 weeks. Okay. So it is a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled design. So what does it mean? It means that neither the investigator or the subjects or the participant would know whether they are taking the vaccines or they're taking the placebo. So this is very important. We have to do it. Even the Moderna and also the Pfizer vaccine, also they have to compare with the placebo. Because many of you will question why we need to have a placebo arm. But the whole reason why we need to have the placebo arm simply because we need to compare in order to find out the efficacy as well as the side effect of the vaccine is due to the actual vaccine itself or just coincidence. And also we need to know to find out whether the incidence or the number of cases of the COVID infections occur more in the placebo as compared to the vaccine group. So we need to have the placebo arm. Okay. The study population will involve the healthy population, 18 years old and above, and the enrollment period. Okay, this is very important because the enrollment period is going to be on the 25th January, which is next week. So, and it's only for 1 month. So we need to enroll 375 volunteers within this a month. So we need lots of efforts and also the participations from the public, particularly to join our study. I know that our frontliner will be having vaccine soon. So it's up to you whether you want to have your vaccine, which I would suggest that you have the vaccine from the Pfizer because we are the frontliners, so we need to be involved with the patients directly. Whereas for those of you who have friends, relatives, or whoever that you all know that who are interested to have this vaccine trial to participate, you are most welcome. I wish you can extend this invitation to the rest. And the end point of this particular study, of course, the efficacy and the safety, how many patients will develop COVID-19 after the trial. Okay? And also we are looking very closely on the safety of the vaccine, particularly looking at the side effect of the vaccine. So this study is the final phase of testing of the efficacy and safety of the vaccines, like in any other study. So this is two things that you have to remember. In most of the vaccine study, they are looking at the efficacy and also the safety before they can roll out to the community. What are the inclusion criteria? Who are the people who can participate for this particular study? As I mentioned just now, they are healthy individual age 18 and above. What I mean by 18, I'm sure by the age that you are reaching 30 or even 40 or more so after 50, there will be a lot of us who will have medical illness. Can they join? Yes, they can join as well, as long as they have stable medical comorbidities. Patient with the ischemic heart disease, patient with the diabetes, patient with the asthma, they all can join this particular study as long as they are stable. Because we need this kind of variations. Otherwise, our study will be limited to the very healthy population. What about those who have the comorbidity? So it will not mirror the population or the representations from the population. Malaysian as well as the foreigner can join this particular study. And the other important component is that they don't have any allergy. They don't want to come under exclusions. Sorry. The other important component before they can join will be that they need to be able to communicate well, because they need to understand the study, the conduct, and also they need to use the thermometer and also to fill up the diary in order to jot down the problems or the side effect that they will have along the study. The exclusion criteria, of course, number one will be that they are excluded if they already been infected with the COVID-19. The pregnancy, the breastfeeding, which is the normal, what we call this, the exclusion criteria in any of the clinical trial, we exclude the pregnant and children. Those patients who are also on immunosuppressive agent also will be excluded, as been mentioned or alluded by Dr. Loh Lily just now. The vaccines will maybe, I think the response will not be optimal among the immunosuppressive agents, because what will happen is that the vaccine itself will stimulate our own humoral, our own immunity in order to neutralize the virus. So in the case of immunosuppressant agents, they might not be able to mount that kind of the immunity. And finally, another exclusion criteria is about the jurisdictions or at the discretions of the investigator, where to judge at the end of the day whether that particular patient is suitable for the study or not. So this is the last slide with regards to the study. Well, I'm just giving to you the timeline. What will happen if a person joins this particular study? So there are about 6 visits altogether. This I'm referring here is the physical visit. This physical visit will take place within 42 days. Why 42 days? That we need to see the patient and also assess physically, because remember, the most common side effect will occur within the first 42 days. And the most important side effect, as mentioned by Dr. Lolili as well, is the immediate reaction, particularly the allergic reaction. So the patients who participated in this particular study, on the day whereby they're going to be inoculated, they have to be observed at the hospital Surabaya for a short while in order to make sure that they are okay. And subsequently, they'll be discharged and they'll come back. And after 42 days, they will be followed up by the phone call. So it's quite easy. So I'm actually inviting all of us to extend this invitation to everyone that you know who are willing to come forward and participate in this particular study, because this will help to add in another information, another vaccine, hopefully, to help our public counter our COVID infections. Everybody is getting exhausted, so at the same time also, I would like to urge everyone also to counter all this, the anti-vaccine and also the people who have been given and spreading rumors and lies and all their evil intentions against the vaccine. Okay. I'm just going to go very quickly on the frequently asked questions, but I think most of it has been already covered by Dr. Lolili. I will try to make it very fast. Okay. While Dr. Lolili has already mentioned about this vaccine, how it reacts, and also whether the vaccine itself can cause the virus, the infection itself. Yes, it's already been covered. Maybe I just can highlight that the vaccine is halal. Okay, this particular vaccine. But I think in general, I think it's no doubt about it. I think this is halal. But because this is become an issue to some of us, so this particular study, they have got the halal certificate to lend more credence or the credibility in terms of the halal degree. Okay. So if they take the study, will they get the vaccine? No. They might also get the placebo. 50% of them will get the vaccine and 50% of them will get placebo. So I have already explained why the placebo is needed. But so what the benefit they will get? Okay. The benefit we'll get is that at the end of the day, after the study or data we collected, should be able to analyze the information about these vaccines, whether it can be used to the public. And for those people or those patients who get placebo in this particular study, they will get the vaccines after we have unblinded the studies towards the end of the study, which is early next year, because the whole durations of the study will be 1 year. So, is this vaccine safe? Yes, it is safe. Can I get the COVID-19 from the vaccine? It's already been eluded. No, you will not get it. Do you have to pay? No, you don't have to pay. Okay, the other thing was I can't read, it's been covered. Okay, never mind. How is my safety being protected? Yes, your safety is the most paramount aspect that is looked at during this particular study. Okay. The other question is that, do I need to wear a face mask when I receive the vaccine? Okay, this is not just for this particular study, but it's also for the other study that you will, or for the other vaccine that you will get. Yes, you have. It's also been explained just now. And I've already mentioned about the safety is being protected. If you're taking part in this particular study, you've been looked after. You've been basically you'll be babysitted in the sense that, especially from the safety point of view. Raising it. Okay. Okay, I think I'm reaching toward the end of the my presentation. Maybe the last one, that would you get will you get paid? Okay, this is the one of the questions that have been asked by many of those people that we have interviewed. yes, you will get paid, but the payment given is meant as in appreciations of the time taken and also for your travel expenses coming to the hospital to join our clinical trial. Okay, so this is the payments that's given, which is valid and which is something which is legitimate in the conduct of the clinical trial. Okay, I would like to finish my my briefing now by ending a Quranic verses, because I'm going to try to counter what most of the people, because I'm very, very uncomfortable, especially among the Malay Muslim who've been saying that, well, this is from the God, and you shouldn't do anything, you shouldn't have to wear masks, and so on and so forth. You should just berserah kepada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala. Okay, but remember, in the Surah Al-Hujurat, and what the worst part is that they are advising the others not to take the vaccine, and then what we call is spreading all the fake news and lies to everyone. But what you must remember, this is from the Surah Al-Hujurat, that Allah said, wahai orang-orang yang beriman, jika datang kepada kamu seorang fasik membawa sesuatu berita, maka selidik dulu kebenaran supaya kamu tidak menimpakan sesuatu kaum dengan perkara yang tidak diingini, dengan sebab kejahilan kamu mengenainya, sehingga menyebabkan kamu menyesali perkara yang kamu lakukan. So this is a very strong message from Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala to all of you, that you should not spread lies. If you don't believe in something, or you have something in doubt, check it first. Okay, now we have the vaccine with a very good clinical evidence, with the solid data, and yet you still deny it. I think there's something wrong with you. And the worst part is that you spread the lie. So before you click on your social media or things like that, think twice all these statements that you are spreading to the others. And lastly, this is from our Prophet, who said that the best people are those that bring most benefit to the rest of the mankind.